Welcome to another episode of the Women's Hoop Show. Today, we got a lot going on. We got a three-parter that is fully loaded. All right, so first up, we're reacting to the All-WNBA awards. We haven't yet talked about it, like All-WNBA first team, second team, all defensive teams. We're going to get into all of that. Then we'll hit a news roundup. Now it's the WNBA owners who are at odds with Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. Everyone else just fall in line, but next up it's the owners. Portland's expansion squad, they've hired their new head coach, so we'll talk about that and some other fun stories. Lastly, Unrivaled. It's almost time. The clock is ticking before we tip off a new season of Unrivaled. Philly's on the schedule. Big names are in. Caitlin Clark is out. We'll talk about all of those things for the next offseason league coming up soon. We got a lot to talk about. Let's get into it. Hey, Kendra. Welcome back.
It's good to be back. I missed our chats.
I have missed our Yap sessions, but I am also so happy that you are home and not on the road. I'm sure you are too. How has that been to decompress after the finals?
It's weird, but it's nice, right? Like, what are you supposed to do all day when there's no basketball going on? It's so, like, how do we entertain ourselves now?
I feel that. I had a total day of depression where it just hit me like, oh, we're not going to have the WNBA again until May, like actual basketball games. It was such an abrupt stop. That's what I keep saying. Just with the sweep, it was so abrupt. I think I wanted it to just level out a little bit more so that I personally can feel better about it.
I agree. It's funny because during that series, we had, so much planned. And as it became apparent what could happen, the possibility of a sweep, we were like, wait, we have so much stuff we aren't getting to. Wait, this is crazy. So it felt very abrupt for sure.
Very abrupt, but that's okay. The Aces are the champions, and as we are rolling into, another week of WNBA offseason, first we have to talk about the Aces championship celebration parade because, they just know how to do it by now.
They're
this
pros.
is their third one.
At this point, I think they just go back to the blueprint that they said, what did we do from a couple of years ago? And they know they're the city, the team, the organization is a well-oiled machine. And listen, I have my feelings of Vegas as a it is not I am not the gambling casino kind of girl, but one thing Vegas knows how to do is throw a party. And
for sure,
they lived up to their city's reputation, I think, when it comes to throwing that huge party.
What do you mean? You don't like staying inside for days at a time,
Jordan,
not seeing the sunlight?
Jordan, no, it was like I got seasonal depression because I realized I stayed in the same hotel that Michelob Ultra Arena is in.
Yeah.
And it was like day 4 of the finals. And I'm like, why am I so sad? Like, I have not felt the sunlight in 4 days.
Yep. That's Las Vegas. That's covering a basketball game in Las Vegas. Or I've done it for media days. I've done it for tournament days for WCC. And you're just like, wait, I have not left indoors for days at a time. That is the city's MO. They want you to stay inside so that you can continue to gamble. But as a reporter or somebody who's covering it, it's horrible. So yeah, I feel that.
My one last little beef. I went to Starbucks with my sister. $33 for 2 coffees.
Oh, woo!
What? So Vegas.
Yeah,
we have a
little beef.
Turn up.
Not your biggest fan.
Do your thing, but we need to talk about these coffee prices.
But like you said, they know how to throw a party.
They do.
The parade was so fun. I always love seeing, okay, what outfit is Asia going to wear? We saw that it was a replica of Michael Jordan's championship
Man,
parade outfit. Genius.
yes.
My other favorite moment that I wanted to shout out was Nalissa Smith handing out shots, but then Dejanay Carrington checking
So good.
IDs before the shots happened in the
Amazing.
parade. Just
Amazing.
water falling shots.
My
Incredible.
my highlight, I think, besides Becky throwing it back on
For
stage, which was
sure. Yeah,
incredible,
yeah.
was I think it was it Jackie Young just like aura farming. She just stood
Yeah.
there, didn't say a thing, and
Silence.
everyone's going crazy. I loved that. I thought that was so good.
So good. Genius by the silent assassin to say, I'm just going to stand here and you
All
guys
I
are going
gotta
to love
do.
that. Oh, congrats to the Las Vegas Aces again because they are always going to give us content when it comes to championship parades. Love that. Um One thing that we haven't talked about on this show yet is the All WNBA awards
Mhm.
because if we all remember, there was a schedule of when awards were supposed to come out. And
Yes.
then the league was in crisis and they did not release the list. So we all got jumbled. But now that it's over the season, I want to go back and kind of reflect on all WNBA first team, second team, and all defensive teams because I
Mhm.
think there were some huge accolades, a lot of first timers, which is like my favorite thing ever.
Yeah.
So let's start with all WNBA, the offensive side. So
Yeah.
first team, I'll just list them out. Asia Wilson, Nafisa Collier, Alyssa Thomas, Alicia Gray, Kelsey Mitchell. That
Mhm.
is first team. And I love that Kelsey Mitchell is on this list. I love that Alicia Gray is on this list. They deserve it. They balled out this year.
Yeah.
What were some of the things that you saw with from this first team?
Yeah. I mean, I had a ballot this year. I was a voter, and this is exactly who I voted for my first team. I think all five of these women were just undeniable in their seasons, and there's a reason why these five on first All NBA team, or excuse me, WNBA team, were also the top five MVP vote getters
Mhm.
this season because the way that they powered their teams was absolutely incredible. And you can look at some of these teams. I look at Alicia Gray has incredible help with Ryan Howard. Naz Holman had a great year, but she is still just like she is the power, the engine to Atlanta. You look at what Kelsey Mitchell literally played until her wheels fell off,
Yes.
and she is the reason why the Fever made it as far as they did. And then obviously, you know, Asia and Fee, it kind of goes without saying what they were able to accomplish this season. Like every single one of them was just insane.
Mhm.
So I think that it again matches what I did in my ballot, and I think that they're so deserving of this.
Yes, we got it right as a WNBA family. This is the five players. And I also love that I think there's a tidbit that a lot of people maybe don't know, which is different from All Star, is that this is positionless, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
are just putting in your vote for the best players. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a center, a forward, a guard. These are just the best
Yeah.
players,
And
period.
I think that that's how it should be because you look at someone
I
like
agree.
Alyssa Thomas, right? And what I spent a lot of time with the Mercury and the playoffs and talking to Nate Tibbetts and their general manager Nick Uren, and when they brought AT into Phoenix, it was this thing of you are the point forward, like you are technically a forward, but you're our point guard, you're our floor general, and I think it's like we need to move to this positionless way of thinking, especially with these
Mhm.
awards, because across basketball people are playing so it isn't like the old days of okay the center stands in the paint in the post and waits for this and the point guard only facilitates so they can so I think
Yeah.
again these were the five most deserving players and if it wasn't this positionless style, one of those guards wouldn't have been there.
Mhm.
And so, but I think that these were the 5 that needed to be there. So I'm
Yeah.
glad that we're in this positionless voting.
Me too. Me too. Again, they got it right. The only thing I'll say about this first team is Brianna Stewart's name is not on this list for the first time since
Mm,
2019, where she didn't play that season. That's the only reason
yeah,
why she was out, because of an
yeah,
Achilles injury. So that was just like a shock to the system, not even because I think she got snubbed, but just because we got so used to it and so used to her just being, in that top 3 best player
yeah.
category. So that
I
was a lot.
yeah, I think people when you like I'll chuckle at myself for saying this again, but or but when you were so great, you raise the bar on yourself. And
Mhm.
this season again, there were so many tremendous players. Someone always has to be left off, right? And it's the
Yeah.
same conversation we have around All-Star, but it is a little bit different here just because it's All-Star is so celebratory and there's a lot of different voting factors that kind of create the equation.
Yeah.
But I think it's a testament to the talent in the W when you having emerging star. I mean, entering this season, I don't think anyone had Kelsey Mitchell's name penciled in as a all WNBA first team player,
Mhm.
an MVP candidate, all of this stuff, especially knowing who one of her teammates is.
Yeah.
No one would have predicted that. But I think it's the beauty of how much talent is in this league and just the many, many iterations in one season, right? Like
Mhm.
the ebbs and flows of the year, this season in particular, I think was quite unpredictable in a lot of ways. And I mean, again, even looking at the Aces and what they accomplished a month and a half ago,
I know. I
who
love
would have
it.
thought? Who would have thought? So I think Stewie, she's gonna, use this as motivation, right? Keep getting better. Her team had a lot of downs, a couple ups, but a lot of downs. She had some, injury struggles this year.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's part of me always loves to see the new kids on the block kind of start taking some of that firepower, right? And I think that that's what we
Yeah.
saw with Kelsey over Stewie this year. And that's no disrespect to Stewie, but it's fun to see the people continuing to rise.
Absolutely. That's what makes the ecosystem of the WNBA continue to flow. And
Yeah.
her Stewie's teammate Sabrina was on second team along
Mhm.
with Nneka Gumake, Jackie Young, Aaliyah Boston, and Paige Beckers. And
Yeah.
so all those first timers, Beckers, Alicia Gray, Kelsey Mitchell,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And Aaliyah Boston,
Yeah.
all making their all WNBA team debuts. So that's super exciting. I think for second team, and it's like we can have this conversation: who is left off, who do you take off, all of that. But the Sparks, I was kind of wanting some Dearica Hamby or
Yeah.
some Kelsey Plum love for second
Yeah.
team. That was probably the only thing where I was like, dang, all of these players balled out. But
Yeah.
so did some players on the
All this
Sparks.
this
That was, like, the only thing.
I think second team is one of the hardest
I know.
because you're so right. It is. There's so many players, and it's like, did it just like I'm like, put a third team out
I
there or
know,
something,
we need a 3rd team. We
or
do need a
something
3rd
like that.
team.
Just because it is like there are that's I think where you kind of can see a little bit more like snubs or
Mhm,
people who I don't know if that's the right word, but just like people who were also deserving. Because yeah, I mean, I think you put out two great names. I like Kelsey in her first year with LA was like really good
mhm.
and I mean, I think Dearica maybe didn't get enough shine for kind of what she was able to do. You always kind of think of like how does season results factor into that? And it's like it's a hard thing to balance because then again, like, okay, Paige Beckers,
Yeah, Paige is on this
uh,
list, so you kinda
uh,
you
you know what
can't
I
even
mean?
do that. Paige deserves to be on this
Yeah,
list. She was
yeah,
not only leading, we'll get to the all-rookie team, but
yes,
she was leading everybody in a lot of
yeah,
categories. So she definitely it deserve all these players deserve it.
yes.
But I love the idea of a 3rd team, and also I think about, something that just loving the history of the league, right? And we go back and we look at the season and you just using Dearica Hamby as an example. Okay, she wasn't an all-star. She didn't
Mhm.
make an all WNBA team in offense or defense, but she had a really great season, but there's no awards or anything to like attach it
Yeah,
to call back to this season. And that's
yeah,
what always is hard when I think about snubs is even
yeah,
for an all-star. Okay, they had a really great season, but are we going to remember this great season in some way
yeah,
because they were able to get an award for it? No? All right, we're going to have to look through her basketball reference and be like, yeah, that was a good year. I
yeah.
remember. That's
That is
all
a
we
good
have to go
point.
off of.
That
Yeah,
is a good point. I hadn't thought of that of the historical tracking of it. That's an interesting way to look at it. But it is true, and maybe it takes like the true basketball junkies to be able to
yeah.
pinpoint. No, but remember 2025. Um, yeah, and now I'm thinking back. I'm like, man, I feel like I have to go look back at the historically great seasons that weren't bookmarked right by
For
something.
sure. There's a lot. There's a
Yeah.
lot. There's this book I've told that's coming out
Oh,
written by Jordan Robinson and Emma Bachelary where we talk about some of those seasons.
oh my
But
gosh.
that's
Yeah.
what makes you go back to in your memory to be like, "Dang, didn't Dearica have a really good season that year? Didn't the Sparks
Yeah.
almost miss the playoff?" Like
Yeah.
that type of memory, but nothing to on paper to show for it. So
Mhm.
there's that aspect of it. But this idea too for all rookie team, because I think this is just the toughest list to make because
Yeah.
it's one team, it's 5 rookies,
Yeah.
and this year particularly, there were so
So
many
many.
great rookies and so many good options. But on the list, Paige Beckers, Sonia Citron, Kiki Ariafin, Don Malonga, and Janelle Salon.
Mhm.
I mean, I felt like this was impossible. I don't know
It
how you voted for this, but this
yeah.
felt very hard.
I had Paige, Sonia, Kiki, Salon, and then I had Monica Koamakani over Dom.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
sat with that last one for a while, and I had a lot of conversations with other voters, other reporters, like or like team members, the I'm like, what? Like, pitch me so like
Mhm.
make
Mhm.
help me, which only actually makes it harder when people are pitching you on their athletes because I'm like, you're so right. Like, I the reason I think that Malonga's ceiling is one of the highest ceilings in this rookie class. I am so
Yeah.
excited to watch her continue to grow. And especially her progression over like the latter half of the season. I chose Akoa Makani over Dom just because I think her entire year contributions were so incredible to what the Mercury did, especially when they were without um, Kalia Copper and Alyssa
Mhm.
Thomas. And I just think that she, even in even in the playoffs, making it to the finals was a key contributor to that team. These ballots were due before the playoffs started, but um, that's how I put my ballot. But I sat there with that fifth spot open and
Mhm.
didn't hit submit until the last possible second, just because I think that what Malonga was like her growth in year one in real time, I think is so incredible. And basketball fans should be so excited. Seattle should be
Oh, yeah.
thrilled to have her and hopefully for a good long while.
Mhm. That is the perfect excuse me, the 2 players that I was also thinking about. When you think
Yeah.
about contribution, when you think about a rookie starting and having to play a major role in Phoenix's offense, how they go, what they do, a rookie starting guard, even in the playoffs. I know this was mostly
Yeah.
regular season. It was just so much.
Yeah.
We talked about it. Me and Cheryl talked about it, a couple episodes ago, just about how she's going to grow tremendously from this playoff experience, from the finals experience. And there were some things where it's like, okay, you're a rookie. You saw Dawana talking to her, pulling her over to the side, like maybe not that pass right now, maybe not that shot right now. All of those things. But every single rookie on this list went through that this season. Like that's what rookies do. That's what you go through. But Dom Malanga, what she was able to do off the bench, setting records, having 20 plus points, double digit rebounds. I think the excitement factor is more on her side. So I for sure get that. And also the expectation. She was the number 2 pick. She's kind of supposed to be on this list. Whereas Makoa Makani, I will admit I wasn't familiar with her game until the season tipped off. So I think that's something where the expectation is, yeah, you're the number 2 pick. It's supposed to be all the
Yeah.
number 1 through 5 picks on this list. But Salon coming in, I mean,
Yeah.
for the Valkyries, I don't know how you choose someone from the Valkyries. It could have been so many options just from that team alone. I'm happy to see that the Valkyries get a nod here. And Salon was one of those players that I just remember the first time really watching her. She didn't even start the season on the team. When she came, it was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is a bucket. Where has
Yes.
she been? Like this
She's a
mid-range, this jumper, she is
yeah.
a scorer. So
She's
I
a
love that
scorer.
she's here.
And she's kind of a killer too. Like she has, and I know that like that was something so important to the Valkyries' identity. But like she had that oomph to her,
Mhm.
right? And I like you saw her again, another player who you just saw grow in real time. Um, I think I mean, she was so important to the Valkyries' success this year, and I was excited to like. I mean, I voted for her, but I was excited to see her make the team too because she, again, like you said, she kind of came out of nowhere. People didn't really know what to expect from her, and as the season went on, as Kayla Thornton went down, and then they suffered. The Valkyries dealt with a lot of other injuries toward the tail end of the season. Xanda Lucini missed some time, some other players as well. Tab Hayes was out for an extended period of time. And Salon just kind of kept going and going. And there were moments again where I kind of like what you were saying with Akoa Makani. You're like, okay, you're a rookie.
Mm,
I see that. But again, you're a rookie. You should be
yeah.
doing those mistakes now and learning as you go. But I think she's very deserving of it. And like you said, I think this was a really hard group to assess because there were so many talented rookies this year. But that's also, again, as we talk about the growth of the league and young players continuing their rise. I mean,
Mhm.
that's exactly what you want.
I love it. And Salon, I mean, she was playing overseas up
Yeah.
until the very beginning. Then she left
It's
for
right back there.
Eurobasket. Then she came back. And then I saw a post, I feel like it was the next day after the
Yeah.
Valkyrie season was over. She's already back in
Yeah.
EuroLeague. So
After that
nonstop.
game, after game 2 against the Lynx, someone asked about I don't remember if the question was about like reflecting on this year or looking ahead to next year. And Janelle just goes, I start playing
Got
tomorrow.
a
I'm
flight.
not done. Like I have a game in 2 days. What are you talking
Wow.
about?
Wow.
I'm like,
Oof.
girl, I need your stamina and conditioning.
That's crazy. That is wild. But shout out to her. I mean, the
Yes.
work is paying off. It's showing, and I'm so happy. So I think we got it. It's
Yeah.
right for the all rookie
Yeah.
team,
Yeah.
for sure. Quickly talking about the defensive team. So first team, second team. First team, Nafisa Collier, Alana Smith, Alyssa Thomas, Gabby Williams, Asia Wilson. Second team, Aaliyah Boston, Veronica Burton, Ryan Howard, Ezzie Magmagor, and Brianna Stewart. So we do get Stewie on
Yeah.
a defensive team. Any one of these players kind of stick out to you on these defensive teams? I have one, but I want to know
Oh,
who's yours.
no, you go first. I didn't have one that was crazy to me, so you go.
Not even that it was crazy. I want to shout out Ryan Howard for
Yes,
making this list.
she was
I
on my
think
ballot. I voted
that
for her.
is so great for her. I think about Ryan, and when you think about her game, first of all, you think about ride time and you think about the offensive explosiveness and how she can
Mhm.
score in bunches, quickly, in a hurry. But I think about back in media day, how what she said were her goals for the season. She
Mm.
said she wanted to be in the MVP conversation. She wanted to be a all WNBA on an all WNBA team and an all WNBA defensive team. And she didn't feel like she got credit for her defense. She
Yeah.
was mostly known for her offense. And I think back to May when they were battling the fever and a reporter asked at the end of the game, you've kind of been locking up DeWanna Bonner. Like she hasn't really been able to do anything. How do you do that? And what can we expect for the season? And Ryan calmly, she took a long beat and she kind of laughed under her breath. And she said, I don't really understand the question because I play D. I I really beyond that.
Yeah.
And that was the soundbite, right?
Ugh.
And that's the energy she kept all year long of like, no, I'm a defensive player too. You guys are gonna
Yeah.
start recognizing that. And so I was just so happy that she was able to check at least this off of her goals list
Yeah.
this
I
season.
mean, she was so strong on defense, like often taking, right, opponent's best guard or best wing player, and she is like it's her footwork, it's her hands, it's her
Mm-hmm.
reflex, right? She ask any guard, right, and they're going to tell you how under recognized they are for their defense. And but we're seeing more and more guards who are so good, and it's different than bigs. Like they're so pesty. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like when I
Mm-hmm.
look at all of the guards who made these lists, they would annoy the heck out of me being out on the court. And Ryan is one of those kinds of players who she's just always there, like in your
Mm-hmm.
space. And you're not going to get as many block shots. You're not going to get those types of numbers that the bigs are going to get, that you're going to see from Asia and that you're going to see from Fee. But it's the other numbers that will show up, and also again just like the presence and
Mm-hmm.
I remember like years ago, I had a conversation with Draymond Green in the locker room of the Warriors talking about defense. And, he's a defense guy. How can you measure defense? And ever since
Mm-hmm.
that conversation, I've kind of tried to like take a holistic look at defense. And again, just looking at people who is always there and making life miserable for those people that you're guarding. And Ryan is one of those people that just is always there and making it difficult. And so, yeah, I voted for her. I think she was great. Veronica Burton's hit, she's, again, after Kayla Thornton went down, Veronica just said, okay, this is my team and taking over. But doing it on both ends, again, her defense was so important to this team. So I guess that's one kind of that I was like, again, not surprised because I voted for her, but is you have to pay a little bit more close attention.
Yes. I love this idea of the pesky
Yeah.
guard that just sneaking around. Gabby Williams is the number
Yes.
one person on that.
Yes.
That's why she made first team. A lot of people saying she should have been in the co-defensive player conversation with Asia
Yeah.
if there was going to be one because of the steals factor. And there's
Mhm.
always a conversation around Depoy and this idea of guards just not getting the same look because of this idea of how do we measure defense. We always go to block shots when it is so much more than that. There's so many other factors. And I think this list kind of recognizes a little bit of all of it. So I feel feel good. I feel like we got this right too. And not too many. I don't feel like there's a player that jumps off to me that is like, oh, we missed. There are players that have traditionally been on this list, someone like a Brittany Sykes, someone like a Jordan Canada, but missing time. Brittany Sykes switching teams, was way more offensive focused this season than ever
Yeah.
before. So I'm okay. I'm okay with the newbies on it. I'm okay with Veronica Burton getting this nod and most improved player. Like, she
Yeah.
deserves all of these accolades. So,
Yeah.
all right, WNBA awards, all WNBA. Also, there's some money tied to these awards. So they're not
Yeah.
just like, oh, fun, great for you. You can add that. For all WNBA, you get the first team, you get $10,300. Second team, you get $5,150. We need that to go up like a lot, but I'm sure nobody's turning down a $10,000 check. So, well, that'll come up in the CBA negotiations, which is coming up
I'm sure.
after the break. All right, welcome back to the Women's Hoop Show. We're chatting all the things, and there has, even though we are in WNBA off season, there's been no shortage of news
No.
and other storylines coming up. Cathy Engelbert has a new opponent, and it is the owners now, which typically the commissioner is representing the owners. Like, that's kind of what she does at the bargaining table as commissioner, not the players. They have their own reps, but she's come in for the owners. And now, in a story from your wonderful colleagues at ESPN, a lot of anonymous owners and executives have kind of come out, and they have also shown that they're not too happy with Cathy and this whole situation kind of going down. Um, do you have any insight or an initial reaction before I get into some of these specific quotes that were put in the story?
No, we can just well, let's go to the quotes and we can
Let's
kind of
go to the
break
quote.
it. We can just break it down from there.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. So some of these quotes are, and again, these are anonymous, but one owner said, if I had a vote, I would probably ask for a replacement. That is referring to Cathy Engelbert. Another one saying, quote, if you fire her now, it's admitting weakness. It's a terrible look for the league. I can't stand what Collier did. That was a private conversation and makes me not want to fire her, Cathy Engelbert, even though I think she should be fired. End of quote. And then the last one I pulled out, change is a must. This is from a team executive. Either Cathy has to change how she relates to the players, or there has to be a change in that role. It can be worked out, but some things have to change. End quote. So a little bit of this melting pot of, we're reacting to the explosive exit interview from Nafisa Collier. We're reacting to Cathy's reaction. And this is kind of the state of the league as we are recording this on October 20th, and the CBA deadline is looming for the 31st. So
Mhm.
a lot of quotes being thrown around, a lot of opinions swirling. And I'll leave
Yes.
that there. I'll toss it to
Yeah. I mean, it's it's tricky, right? It's all a very tricky situation. And you what you said before is true. Like Cathy is the middleman for the owners, right? Between them and the players, especially when it comes to these negotiations. I think the thing that like really has to be like focused on or just like kind of reading within these quotes and within our story is like it isn't maybe not for all but for some this like I hate Cathy. There is
Mhm.
an acknowledgement of, and I think it's in the story too, of how much she has built this league as commissioner. But I think what we've learned over the last couple months since Nafisa's exit interview, and maybe we've heard a little bit about it before when Sabrina was talking about how she feels that Adam Silver has been more accessible to her than Cathy, that this butting heads between her and the players is an issue, especially as you're trying to get a new CBA. And so
Yeah.
as much as she represents the owners, you do have to have a relationship with the players. And so when I look at that last quote that you read about like some form of change needs to happen, I think ideally that change would be her relationships with the players,
Mm-hmm.
because she has done such an incredible job of growing this league since she's become commissioner. So that I think would be like the preferred change if that's possible. The thing that change requires though is time, and time is something that is not of the essence right now, just with where the deadline is. And even if there is an extension for the CBA deadline, okay, that only gets you like a couple more months, really. And so it's a really weird situation. But I think one thing that insiders understand is, again, like I look at other leagues, and like I challenge you, maybe outside Adam Silver, I challenge you to name a commissioner that their players really like.
Yeah.
And maybe I can't remember if we spoke about it before. Like I brought up Rob Manfred in the MLB and how Bryce Harper, told him to get the F out of the locker room earlier in the season. Roger Goodell, there's always something happening with him. And the other difference with the W and Cathy's position, she reports to someone else as well,
Mm-hmm.
in Adam. And so I think there's just so many layers to this that make it more complicated than other leagues. And I think that owners, executives, insiders, all of these people around it understand just how complicated and nuanced all of this is. So yeah, those quotes are definitely, they're I don't know what the right word is. It's not shocking to me, but
There's
they're sharp.
something.
There's
Yeah.
something. They're
Yeah.
sharp, right? They're there.
Mhm.
Like,
I mean, especially for the group of people that you are representing, you wouldn't want to hear that about if we just take this as a normal job and you are a manager of a
yeah,
group of people and this is what they're kind of saying about your position, that's not going to be nice to
yeah,
hear. I think I want to go back to what you said something earlier of this idea that there is good that Cathy has done.
yeah,
And I think that there have been it hasn't been a ton of people, which is something that a lot of people have pointed out. When it was this Collier versus Cathy, a lot more people were coming up to speak about Nafisa's character and why they believe her rather
mm-hmm.
than Cathy. And it
Yes,
kind of like
yeah,
that was telling. That was
yes,
very telling.
yeah. And it's character goes a long way. Character is important. It's having someone be able to stand up for you in the room is, no matter what job you have, right, is so important. And I think that that's what all of this comes down to with Cathy is it isn't in her personality, clearly, or it hasn't been in her personality to be a people person. And
Mhm.
that's, feedback that I've heard from people. And that's why the relationships are more fragmented. She doesn't have the character that people are wanting. And I think Nafisa has built such an incredible, brand of herself where she she has that. And that's not to say that Cathy doesn't have that. Has bad character, but it's not outward facing. And I
Yeah.
think Nafisa has built a lot of trust and good credibility with her peers, with her colleagues, as she should, and it's very well deserved. So I think that is, again, that's a really it's a really tricky thing to navigate. But I do think, again, like at the end of the day, I think something that people forget is that Cathy really works for the owners.
Yeah.
She does work for the players, but she doesn't at the same time. So it is a little bit more damning when you do have executives and owners and people who she is more works in response to saying those things. That raises a little bit more of a flag.
I think, to sum it up, first of all, it was a great story on ESPN.com about this and about these quotes. I think it did give an insight that we're not, us on the outside are not making things up about what the owners and executives are thinking about the situation, and they have a say in this. And that's going to be a topic for the next couple weeks. Like, we are always going to have an update on this. I think more things are going to come out. The deadline, I don't think it's realistic that they're going to hit it. They're expected to have a 60-day extension like they did in 2020. So nobody panic if there's not ink to paper on the 31st. There have been extensions in the past, and that's probably what we're going to get to this time around. Now, that does push some things back, like the expansion draft, like free agency. But speaking of an expansion team, the Portland Fire came in hot
Mm-hmm.
and announced their new head coach, which is Alex Sarama, someone I wasn't too familiar with, but he was a former Cleveland Cavaliers assistant. He also has some Portland ties. He was a Rip City Remix, which is their G League team, assistant coach. This is big news for them. This was a huge step in, like, legitimate, making them a legit expansion team, making them a real team.
Yeah.
So what was kind of your reaction to the
Yeah.
Fire's hire?
Yeah. The biggest thing with him is he has, and I can't, this CLA, I think, is the initials are. It's the European style and process of
Yes.
development and all this stuff. It's become or it's growing, I'll say, stateside in that technique of how they're producing these an increasing amount of incredible European players. And, we spent a good time talking about Malonga. Obviously, on the men's side, there's an incredible influx of international talent. And so this style that he is part of, I think, is something that made him attractive to the Fire.
Mm-hmm.
Their general manager, Vanya, comes from the Valkyries, and she's international. The Valkyries clearly took a very international approach to them building their franchise. I'm not saying that the Fire are going to go about the same direction as the Valkyries did. I think it's hard to exactly replicate it, but I think they were trying to find a new approach, a new style, maybe something that fits in with Vanya's vision for this team. So I think that's kind of like the biggest thing to know about him.
Absolutely. That was the thing that stuck out to me. The CLA approach is constraints led approach. And when I'm reading about it and I'm learning about it, he wrote a book called Transforming Basketball, Changing How We Think About Basketball Performance. So it's very much this high level new approach to basketball, which has been around for a very long time, and how people have traditionally maybe coached basketball. Now, here's my thing. I say this every season because last year we had a lot of new head coaches. It can either go one way or another way. It can go amazing. And what we saw with a Carl Smesko, a Natalie Nakase, like we are coming in, we're doing this thing, and look at us go. Or it could not go so great. Because here's the thing, when you
Yes.
have this approach, the players have to buy in. They have to be all in on this approach. They have to say, great, we
Mhm.
love that you're coming into practices and it's not the same drills every time, and it's creativity and it's different, and this is why the Cavs loved it. The WNBA players could be like, no, we don't like it. We don't
Yeah.
mess with it. We're not for it. That's not for me. So that's with coaching in general. You have to have the players buy in. So I'm so curious to see how players are excited about this newness, or are they like, this is a little too new age, a little
Yeah.
too hippie
I'm
for
I'm
me.
right. And I think what building off of that, I think it's almost, if they're going to do this incredibly new style and stuff, it's almost better that it comes from an expansion team versus a firing of a previous coach. You run it
Yeah.
back with a similar group, let's say, and all of a sudden you're going from what it was to a completely new world, where I think when you enter an expansion, you're kind of giving yourself to this process of, or like heading into a place that has never existed before. We're in for something new, no matter what that newness looks like. Again, it's, when I spoke with a lot of Valkyries players, one of the reasons why the Valkyries worked as well as they did is because Ohemanyanen, their general manager, she made sure that every single person who stepped foot into that facility understood that exact thing of, this is unlike anything else for every single one of us, but you have to give yourself to that process. And so, to your point,
Mhm.
if you are selected in the expansion draft to Portland, if you sign with them in free agency, if you are selected by them in the collegiate draft, you have to know that this is going to be like, you have to give yourself to this process. Maybe you do end up hating it, but like this is it's new for everyone involved. And so
Mhm.
I'm very curious to see how that works, especially because, like, again, it's going to be an entirely new group as well, who we don't know how they play together in any situation, let alone
Yeah.
this new style system. So I think it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think that is a great point. This is the time, the chance, the opportunity to do
Yeah.
that with an expansion team with nothing coming over previously. I will have to say that some people were not too happy, just the fact
Yeah.
that maybe it wasn't a well-known name. Maybe it wasn't a
Yeah.
former player, a former WNBA player, somebody who was kind of in the coaching mill. Um, Names kind of popping up, getting first chances, rather than this man
Yeah.
coming in to get a chance.
Yeah.
I think once you know more about the philosophy and this ideals that he stands on, it makes sense why you go with him and why it's
Yeah.
exciting and
Yeah.
interesting. Not saying that other coaches aren't deserving, but I think it's just always hard. I think that whole
I
conversation
think
of,
it is.
should there be more women coaches, men coaches, former players? It's just a lot.
It's
I'm glad I
it,
ain't hiring.
it
Let
is.
me just say that.
Yes, and I completely agree with you. And it's like, it's one of those situations where both things are true, and
Yeah.
those situations are the hardest to navigate. Where, you know what, the fact that there's only one woman of color who is a coach in the WNBA is kind of absurd. Like, that is really, really wild. And there's no black, and it's no black woman. It's Natalie Nakase, and she is incredible. And what she has done for the Asian American community is
Jesus.
inspiring and outstanding. And there needs to be more. Um, and there's so many deserving women, and women of color in particular, who deserve to be head coaches in this league and
Hmm.
other leagues. They should be front of the bench, behind the bench, on every inch of the decision making, player care, everything. And
Mm-hmm.
in the same breath, you can say that this person who was hired isn't undeserving. And those
Mm-hmm.
are the toughest, because it's always easier to, when the person isn't deserving and you say, oh, like they aren't good. Their resume is bad. Like, why are
Mm-hmm.
you doing
Mm-hmm.
this? Oh, it's any situation, that's always easier saying boo to that person because they actually aren't deserving. But when they are, and you still have this problem, which the league does,
Yeah.
it's super confusing. And so, I hope, right, we have we have a lot of other coaching vacancies to
Mm-hmm.
get to. Seattle, Dallas, New York. I'm super curious to see what direction they go in, because again, like there's just no way. And I'll even say, like, me saying that there shouldn't just be one woman of color as a coach, as a head coach in the WNBA. I'm also not saying that just because it is the WNBA, but like there are people in this sport and in this world who who could be incredible leaders of organizations, and that's
Mm-hmm.
why I say, well, there should be more. It's not, for me, it's not just like, oh, we're in women's sports, so we need more. Like, it is part of that, but like I said, I think there should be more female coaches in every aspect, because if there is someone with the correct resume who is deserving of it, then they should be put in those positions. And there's a lot of really strong candidates in this pool.
I couldn't agree more. It makes me more curious to see what those other teams are going to do, because there luckily are some other opportunities out there. And the candidates
Yeah.
are there's some really, really good ones. And I just hope they make the right choices. Because
Yeah.
they know if you make the right choice, like there are some great consequences and there are some not so great consequences. So what season do you want to have next year? I'm
Yeah.
so curious. I'm so curious about it. Last bit of news to get to was really quickly, we have a place for WNBA All-Star 2026, and it's
Yeah.
Chicago. It is summertime, Shy. I have exciting feelings and not so exciting feelings. So first, my exciting feelings are my first WNBA All-Star that I like got paid to cover was in Chicago in 2022. So that was a special moment. I was like, "Yay, we're going back to Chicago." Great city. Like Chicago is one of the best in the summertime. Now, it had some scheduling issues because it was a little last minute. So I love that we are getting very far ahead of this, and we'll be able to be at the United Center and at Wintrust Arena, which is huge, huge news.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the not so excited part is that Chicago was in the limelight a lot this season
Yes.
for not so great things. And
Yes.
then we're going to go like support this
Yeah.
team. So that's
Yeah.
the only thing that could just get a little murky on my end.
Yeah. I mean, I think my initial reaction to it was like you said, Chicago in the summertime. I'm actually heading there this weekend, so I'm very excited for the weather. Great aquarium in Chicago. Fun fact for you aquarium lovers like myself. But then the next thing that came to my head was, yes, the conversations that took place earlier this season surrounding their star player. And again, and Jordan, we mentioned it when we were having that discussion about Angel and the fallout with the Sky, was again like that athletic player poll saying that they're the worst run franchise in the league. And I hope that Angel gets her shine during this, as host players get, right? I think the W's in this place, like, I think they like to put all-star in places where there is a player that is helping carry this league, right? Caitlin Clark didn't get to play in Indianapolis, but she was a host, and I 10 toes down believe that her presence in Indianapolis is one of the reasons why All-Star was held in Indy. So I can say a similar thing about Angel Reese in Chicago and the impact that she has on the league. And at the same time, again, like what's happening with the Chicago Sky organization, I think is what kind of raised some eyebrows of like, wait, what? Okay. So I think it should be an interesting time. I wasn't there in 2022, but I did hear some of the stories. Hopefully whoever they have on this committee to plan All-Star plans it a little bit better, has some things figured out before then. And maybe it gives some motivation for Chicago to like kind of put things in a better light before then. Maybe those, I don't know, like this is literally just me like speculating. So just putting that as a disclaimer, but like maybe that was part of a conversation of like, hey, we'll host it, but A, has to be better than 2022, and B, let's get some dysfunction out of here. Like let's help each other. Let's make Chicago and the Sky organization have a really positive moment. That's my half glass full approach to this. And yeah, I really do hope that it's a great time.
I love that idea of like, give us another chance. We know we could do it better. Let's have another chance at it. And I think that could be spot on. I also think it is very much tied to the star power. And
exactly.
Yes, we're going to Indianapolis because of Caitlin, not because, no diss to Indy. Indy All-Star was super fun and had one of the best stud buds came out of Indy All-Star. Okay. We are always going to love Indy All-Star. But this idea of like, maybe not the city, it's the star power that really is what brought it there fully. Angel is very much that star power to Chicago, and you get a really great city. Who knows? Maybe we have another fashion show because Angel did her thing on the Victoria's Secret runway. That was incredible. So I would love for her to get all the shine and have a huge event and it just be this huge thing to put a spotlight on her. Yeah. She deserves that.
Yeah.
Little sad that I wasn't right in my prediction with it coming to San Francisco because that's what we had talked about and we were hopeful, but that's okay. Maybe in the future.
Well, the other thing that I was actually, no, timing is different. The Bay Area is hosting a lot of stuff in the next year. Like they have Super Bowls coming through. Like I think the World Cup is coming at some point. I do not know, but like I would be shocked if San Francisco didn't host it sooner than later. I would be shocked if Joe Lacob doesn't throw his hat in that ring. They just hosted another All-Star weekend and it was a success, I would feel. So I think that that's going to happen. I am selfishly glad that I'm not spending another 5 days in the Mandalay Bay and not seeing the outside as some rumors were suggesting was going to happen. So yes. Catch me on one of those like roofless boats on the Chicago River. That's where I'll be.
For sure. From media perspective, definitely different. Happy is not in Vegas. Proximity to us West Coasters, I was
good.
like in Vegas. Also, people are
that
like,
is true.
LA.
Yes.
It's never been an All-Star weekend in LA. Don't come here. I'm sorry. It's so much going on. We're getting ready for the Olympics.
Stay home. You said stay home. LA is hosting a lot too this year. Yeah, you guys have Olympics. You guys also have World Cup. You guys also have men's All-Star. Like I know. I was thinking, I'm like, how much can I Airbnb my apartment for Super Bowl weekend? Like, if I'm going to get out of town and like, right?
For sure. I've already thought about that for the Olympics. I was like, I don't know who's going to want to stay in the Valley, but someone's going to think that the Valley is closer than what it is, and they're going to want to Airbnb.
Absolutely. Make that money. Like, let's get some side hustles up in here.
That's what I'm about. That's what I'm about. Oh man. Okay. Well, we'll all be there for Chicago, and the response has been exciting, and people are already like, "How can we buy tickets?" So that's what we want. That's why you announce it this early, and hopefully, it can just build that momentum for July of 2026. So we got some time. We're gonna take a quick break. Then when we come back, we're gonna talk briefly about Unrivaled. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Women's Hoop Show. And the next thing, I mean, college hoops, we talked about last episode with Autumn. We gave you some storylines to look out for. We're going to be watching college hoops. But the next time we're going to see our WNBA favorites is Unrivaled, which starts in January.
Mm-hmm.
And Kendra, I'm so excited for season 2 of Unrivaled. It's going to
Yeah.
be bigger. It's going to be better. And we already know some new faces are going to be in the mix, new teams. Also, Philly is going to be like a road game. I just want to know all the things. And what are you most excited about when we talk about Unrivaled?
I think I'm excited to see a lot of the new players. I'm really excited to see Kelsey Plum participate. Paige Beckers, I think, is going to be a great addition, and I mean, obviously, they're adding to expansion teams. They're adding 2 more clubs, and I'm excited to kind of see the makeup of how those are folded in. And then with that too, I'm really excited to see the roster construction. Last year, I know that the coaches, it was actually really interesting. And if someone has talked about this on your podcast before, you can tell me to move on. But like when the coaches, so the rosters were made last season for the inaugural year by all of the coaches, all 6 of them,
Yes.
getting in a room and building what they thought was the most like equitable, equal rosters without knowing who was coaching who. And that's how you came up with the teams. And then all of the teams, from the feedback that I've heard from players and stuff, was they want to run it back with their same clubs.
Okay.
Particularly like the Lunar Owls, you know, Hootie Who wants to come back together. The Rose, who won the inaugural year, want to come back together. The Vinyl, who went to the finals. So what I'm curious to see is, do they grant that? Part 1. B, or like part 2, how do you build the new rosters for the 2 new clubs? And then 3, are like, how do you, when you don't have general managers, when you don't have how do you, like, are there trades? Like, how do you do trades? So I'm really curious to kind of just see, with all of these new additional players, what the rosters look like. So I know that that's probably not like the flashiest thing. Obviously, like Philly is like the huge kind of thing on the calendar that I think a lot of people are excited about. But I'm really curious about the development of the game itself. And maybe that's just because I was out there so much. But I think that that's going to be a fun thing to watch.
That is such a good point. I don't think I really realized that, you know, because if you have this alliance of Hootie Who, and now you're on enemy territory and you're on another team, like you're gonna feel left out. Or if some people get to pick that, or get to pick to stay on the team or not. But if there is like one person like, ooh, actually, I wouldn't mind if I was not a part of the team I was last year, how do you voice that? And
Yeah.
who do you tell that? Do you have to tell that to a coach before they draft you? That is so interesting and so fascinating. I think that is going to be a huge thing. One, they should like make that a thing to build momentum going into the season of
We need
who's
another, it's a
going to be on
second
that
free
team.
agency. It's like the free
Heck
agency of
yeah!
Unrivaled.
Oh yes, free agency of Unrivaled. But then also it's like, are those new clubs just going to be all the newbies? Like, is
Right.
that fair? Is that, I don't know.
I don't know either. I'll just be curious. What are you most
Okay.
excited for?
Oh man, I am excited for it all, but also the growth. Like I think
Mm-hmm.
there was so much that went right in year 1, and how do you build off of that? I think, how do you keep the momentum going throughout the season. I think that was one thing that, opening weekend, the first couple weeks, and then it's like, oh, we're still going until
Yeah.
March. Like, you have
Yeah.
to keep that momentum, keep that excitement. I
Yeah.
mean, the social aspects, the studio setup, who was play-by-play analyst, all of that was just so good. The product was really good. And I'm excited to see, like, okay, are we at that bar, or do we set the
Yeah.
bar even higher for year 2? The other thing that I'm excited about, there's still 2 roster spots left. We're recording this on October 20th. So Angel Reese is one of those names that has not been linked to coming back yet. I think she did so well, and she grew as a player and as a brand through Unrivaled, was able to get that championship. So I really hope she comes back, even if it's just for a basketball standpoint. Like, I want you to be that close to Lisa Leslie for a month. I think that is
Yeah.
really good for you. We know it's not Caitlin Clark. Asia Wilson, no, they don't want any injury possible to come to their 4-time
Right.
MVP. So I don't think it's going to be her. But yeah, any insight that you have there on those remaining roster spots?
No, I think they're still figuring it out. I think it was important for some people to kind of wrap up the W season and then get like, let's regroup, realign, like let's get everything kind of figured out. But I'll keep poking around and I'll let you know. I think whoever it is, it's proven to be a good development hub, and it's proven to be, like you said, Angel grew so much. It was a place that you saw, I don't want to call anyone old, but more veteran players, let's say, even grow their game in some ways. So I think that's it's going to be interesting. And I know that they've added to their staffs as well, and their resources have grown. And I think also the other thing that I'm excited about, again, like I was there last season and it was a little free agent frenzy, but I think that this season, it's going to be a feeding ground. And I know, like, when I spoke with Kalia Copper, she told me, yeah, like I took AT to breakfast out there, and I took Satu, and I called up Nick Uren and said, so I need a reimbursement for this breakfast that I just did because I'm recruiting. And so I just know that this is going to be such a hot spot for those conversations. And so I just think that it's even more so than last year, this season, Unrivaled has proven to be just like this. It's very rare that in an off season, there is this hub of the sport. And I think that is just going to be so interesting this upcoming year, is having this hub of the women's basketball players, the best of them, as so much is going on. And how does that then impact like the play of this league as well? What if people become teammates while they're on the teammate out, and like there's just so many fun like nuggets that can come from this second season. And I think it's gonna be a good time.
Okay, you just got me like 10 times more excited than I already was, but didn't even know that was possible. But yes, everyone is a free agent this year, and they're going to be like, well, I'm staying over here, but you could come over here and you could do this. Oh, incredible. Just a masterpiece. I also need a reality show to go with the play on the court. I need it all. I need to know everything.
I'm going to put you on the spot. So maybe you have an answer, but I saw someone post this on Threads the other day. So I'm going to pose it to you. Netflix series, WNBA starting 5. Who is your cast?
Oh, Asia for sure. I think it's also hard because starting 5 is the season prior, right? So it's like, who would I have wanted to see from this past season?
Heading into this year?
And heading into this year. Like that's what the starting 5 does. So that's my answer. That's how I thought about it. I want to see
I like that.
Asia. I want the details of the Aces getting that loss and then them rebuilding it, and Asia at the helm. I love that. 2, Fee, for sure. I want to know everything about Fee, all the way up until her literally at the desk typing that fiery note to her exit interview, printing it out. I want to hear the printing sound of the paper of that exit interview. I think it would be super interesting to get Paige. I think Paige would be so great, having a rookie perspective of her transitioning from the national championship and then being on the road so much as a W player. Then Angel. I think Angel this year would be so good to see her season from Unrivaled to all of the fallout from the Chicago Sky. Fifth one. Maybe someone from the Valkyries.
I was thinking the same thing.
Maybe a Tiffany Hayes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a Tiffany Hayes is so entertaining, it's so funny. She has the fashion angle, and then she's coming from being a WNBA vet to an expansion team, and then we can get more of a look inside of how that Valkyries first season was. So that would be my starting five.
It's great. It's a great answer.
What about you?
I know. I knew it was coming when I threw it out. I agree on a lot of them. I definitely think Asia and Fee for sure. I think, let's get the two biggest stars in the league on your screen. I also really like the idea of Angel. I think that would be super interesting to watch and see. I also agree with someone from the Valkyries, either a Tip Hayes. I was even thinking like a Kayla Thornton, and I think it would be super interesting to see making her first All-Star team, getting injured during before All-Star break even came out, and then still she was still around the team, watching them make the playoffs. I think that would be super interesting. And then for my last one, I kind of have a couple different ways to look at it. Part of me wants to see someone like NECA, who is just such a presence in this league, and she's an all-timer. I think that would be super interesting. Heck, I think that I don't think that AT would ever do it, but I think that would just be fascinating, seeing Alyssa Thomas in a new setting and everything. I think that would be super interesting. I would really be interested too in Sabrina or Stewie or Natasha Cloud, someone on the Liberty. I kind of but someone there. I'm really interested to know more about the goings on of the Liberty this season. And I think that would be there's so many interesting storylines in the W that the character is interesting, but also their situation, their journey, their team season would be really fascinating. So, hey, Netflix.
Okay, as you were saying that, Dewana Bonner.
She came to mind too. She came to mind. She came
That's how
to
we
mind.
would get AT in there, and we would get to know everything that happened in Indiana. And ooh, all right, producers, we just laid it out for you. So
I'm just saying,
we'll
call us. We're here for casting. We're here for the casting directors. That's I'm down. Sign me up.
Let us know. Let us know where you need us, because we just gave you the blueprint. Kendra, it is always so fun. We always go over our time, and we could always give at least another hour and a half to yap. But thank you so much for being here. And I hope you enjoy your off season, even though it's still going to be crazy.
Yes. I'm sure I'll be talking to you sooner than later with everything happening.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow on your favorite podcast app so you never miss an update. Your support means the world. And if you're feeling generous, leaving a quick rating or review helps more Hoops fans discover the show. And you can now see us on our brand new YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe there. Shoot us an email at women'shoops@odyssey.com to tell us what's on your mind. We want to hear your hottest takes, your burning questions, and all your feelings about all things women's hoops. We just might feature your note on the show. That's women'shoops@odyssey.com. The Women's Hoop Show is an Odyssey original podcast hosted by me, Jordan Robinson. Our producer is Phil Sweetek. Our video team is led by Kurt Courtney and includes Tim Meikle, Evan Cox, Allison Jeffrey, and Lauren Vieira. Our executive producers are Greg Holtzman, Asha Saluja, Danny Freisinger, Maddie Sprunkheiser, and Leah Reese-Dennis. And special thanks to Moira Curran and Josephina Francis.